Well, this will be my guide to Lee Sin. I'll try to talk about jungle, lane, and maybe some troll builds in it. And I'm going to just demonstrate the moves first for you, in case you don't know much about Lee Sin, and just talk about them and their range. And then we'll get into laning phase and such. So here we go. Lee Sin's passive is a increased attack speed every time you use an ability. So the indicator is glowing hands, and he gains 40% increased attack speed for each attack. Also, these attacks restore 15 energy. Something about Lee Sin is all his moves, besides his ultimate, have two activate / abilities, and I will be going through each one for you. Lee Sin's first ability is Sonic Wave Resonating Strike. The first activate of the ability shoots out a skill shot nuke that does damage and puts a buff on an enemy target, revealing them. The second part shoots Lee Sin toward that enemy target if activated within about 3 seconds. The second part of the activate is extremely far, and I'll try to demonstrate that here for you. There's the range of it about, so it is farther than the first part, but it does have a range indicator and a range. You cannot do it it's not unlimited range. Second ability is Safeguard Iron Will. It is a shield and a dash, the first part, Safeguard, which he can either shield himself, which is AP ratio, so it's very small, or he can jump to an ally or a ward, shielding both targets. The second part is a activate that gives him lifesteal and spell vent for 5 seconds. Lee Sin's third ability is Tempest Cripple. It's an AoE magic damage ability that's still based off of attack damage that first hits enemy targets, revealing them, and then the second part is a slow. Lee Sin's ultimate is a single target nuke that knocks back enemies in a direction depending on how you're facing them. As you see here, as I walk across, it shows the direction the enemy will hit you. The enemy will travel. Enemies hit by his ultimate, by the target you kicked, take damage, as demonstrated here. Dragon takes damage attacking Teemo. Something interesting about a combo with Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike and Safeguard Iron Will is that you can cancel the Resonating Strike with Safeguard, as demonstrated here. So he took no damage, and it interrupted the travel toward Teemo, and I came toward the ward. Lee Sin has very effective combos in his arsenal that he can use to quickly take down single targets if need be, and I will try to tell you and then show you the combos. So it is a Q, E, R, Q, E. Which this does is put the buff onto Teemo, deal damage, kick him really far, dealing lots of damage, coming back in toward him, and then slowing him, as demonstrated. So that is one of the more potent combos that he can do. And you want to do his ultimate after his Sonic Wave Resonating Strike so that you can follow up the kick, and his Resonating Strike does % damage of missing health. So the more he's hurt, the more damage it'll do. So you want to use this ability after you use all your other damaging abilities. A combo you want to use on Lee Sin was perfected by Insect, and this is a combo that will kick the enemy back into your team. You want this because you usually don't want to kick an enemy away from your team because you want your team to kill him. So what you do is you use your first Q to jump to him, then you use a flash or now you try to use a ward because that's cheaper. You don't want to burn flash. Use a ward to place it, and then resignate, then safeguard toward the ward and kick them back using your ultimate. So say the team is where I am, and I want to get Teemo back to where my team is. So you Q, ward jump, and then kick. You also can synchronize a little Tempest Crimple in there if you're fast enough, but you want to do it usually as fast as possible. So while in lane or jungling, we'll talk about lane right now. Ability wise, that you want to max, it kind of really depends on preference. I've heard lots of things, and again, it's on preference. I mean, each ability has very effective, unique things that you want to do to it. So, if you want to do the most burst damage, you'll max your Q. If you want to do sustained damage, you'll probably max Tempest Cripple because that will slow them the most. And then you can just use your auto attacks to pound their face as they try to walk away, but they have an extreme slow on them. Or if you want to play super safe and have a big shield and lots of life stain and spell vamp, you can max your E. So again, depending on how you play, you want is how you upgrade your abilities, and always upgrade your ultimate first. Here I'll be talking about some ruins you will maybe want to use in any of your Lee Sin builds. Again, I'm going to go over standard and kind of maybe some, not troll, but more extravagant and different play styles. Your standard one is AD, flat armor, and flat MR. That's probably the one you'll use the most. The reason why you want to use attack damage on Lee Sin is sometimes you do max your E, and even if you don't max your E, you do your E, and that's magic damage. So the armor pen, instead of attack damage, isn't as good because attack damage helps the E damage and armor pen doesn't. And Lee Sin's AD ratios are enormous. They're almost all 1.0s. Q, I think they nerfed down to 0.9, but otherwise it's pretty much a 1.0 ratio, and his ultimate's a 2.0 ratio. So more attack damage, period. Flat armor seals, that's pretty, jungle, lane, anything. And flat MR glyphs. You could do per level glyphs if you wanted, if you're top lane and they don't have an ability powered jungler. That would be useful. Something also I like to do is if I'm mid, take away the armor seals. Mid, you could still do this, definitely. This is probably safer, but if you think you're going to totally win mid, go attack damage seals instead of armor seals. That gives you a little more damage. It's kind of nice. You get to nuke down them squishy AP carries. And if you want to go tanky, you could probably do some sort of health here or armor. I would always do attack damage here because you still want some damage with Lee Sin. But even if you're going tanky, I would still probably do these because then you'll just get your tanky items, and these are fine. But you could do flat health or flat armor in your Quins to make them a little more tanky. Let's go over Masteries. Here's Lee Sin mid. Again, this is just damage. Yeah, and the problem with damage is it falls off super hard late game. Yeah, you can nuke down their AP carry or AD carry, but it's extremely hard to position yourself properly without dying instantly to kill them because they're protected late game. And yeah, so damage is fun, but not really standard. But you can always do damage masteries and still go a little tankier, but this is like mid, and if you're going top, you just move these over to the armor a little more. So yeah, that's Lee Sin, more higher damage top. For jungle, let me find it. Here's the AD jungle. The only difference is Take a couple away from the armor and magic resist and put them into your anti um, monster attacks. Um, the reason why you want attack speed is because Lee Sin needs his auto attacks in between his abilities. Like he can't just continually spam abilities because he has energy. So you do run out of energy eventually if you just spam them. So that's why I don't really like cooldown on Lee Sin. I prefer attack speed because his attacks give him back his energy, and of course he can use auto attacks to deal damage. So I think that's way more effective. Just as a general Lee Sin tip is attack speed instead of cooldown. Um, a more standard one would be an 80 bruiser, obviously for Lee Sin. Um, Again, move these over to attack speed. So yeah, this is probably what you're gonna use top lane or maybe jungle. If you're gonna jungle, just move these over here, and that's pretty good. Um, I like this setup mostly. Maybe take out the block and unyielding, and you could put him into Juggernaut if you're feeling like you're going heavier health, um, relentless, or maybe some, and or you could put him back into the armor. But that just helps reduce damage. It's kind of what your preference, but obviously 921 for tanky Lee Sin, armor penetration, and go kind of standard semi damage, more tanky items. Yeah, pretty good. So either 21.9 or 921. It's pretty self-explanatory. Attack speed over, cooldown reduction, usually armor over magic resist on yours unless you're mid. I'm almost always like taking safeguard because I kind of like to tower dive. Or if you're the tank, you should try to take the tower damage for your other carries. And at least in not as in like full tank, you're just kind of the 80 bruiser that helps peel and whatnot. Let's go over spells. So, because you're Lee Sin, you don't need Flash. Let's just put it that way. But Flash helps ungodly amount on any champion. So, Flash is always good, but not needed. If you want to win hardcore top lane, take Ignite and Exhaust, and then put a point in that Summoner's Wrath with your 80 build right there, So that's pretty good. And if you want to help lanes, you could either take Ignite and Teleport, or Flash and Teleport. Yeah, I wouldn't take any of those. Oh, Smite if you're jungling, of course. Don't think you can out Q the other guy than smiting. Smiting is always needed, at least if you're doing, um, you know, silver ranked and up. You need smite because that's at first, I didn't think you needed smite when I was bad, and then I started doing some hardcore rank. I'm gold 2 now, which isn't like amazing, but it's not bad. I used to be bronze, and you definitely need smite. It's just control. The buffs are one of the most important things in the game that help you as a jungler or as a laner, depending on how you get it, and it's extremely high um, experience. So if the jungler's taking that with smite, you're going to be lower level and not have a buff. And if they're taking dragon, that's less gold. So smite is a definite necessary for jungle, obviously. And then as Lee Sin, you can take your combination of ignite, exhaust, flash, or teleport. Any of those. Let's go to some item sets. Here, full damage Lee Sin is kind of a build like this. Start with these items. You could also start with the Doran's Blade, but you kind of need the pots a little more sustain in lane, because if you're going to go mid damage, they have higher poke. You just need to make sure you get that all in and win. If you're top, you could probably do that, but another thing I've learned is you almost always want to ward. So usually damage isn't really, this damage type of build isn't much for a ranked game, but if you are going to do a ranked game with some damage, make sure you get like a ward and some pots early on. Minion clearing and stuff, go Ravenous Hydra, it does a little more damage, but for pure 1v1 single target damage, the Bloodthirster is the best, because if full stacks, that's only if it has full stacks. I mean, you should if you're farming properly. This gives 100 AD, while this only gives 75, and one auto attack or activate with this will not out equal or outdo the extra AD damage from Bloodthirster because of your extremely high AD ratios on Lee Sin. He has almost all 1.0 ratio. That's 100% AD added to your abilities, and his ultimate's a 2.0. So 100 damage is going to give you 200 extra damage on your ultimate, while this is only giving 150. So 50 extra damage from your ultimate using the Bloodthirster, and that's just your ultimate. All your other abilities will get more damage also. So single target damage, the Bloodthirster, and it's a little easier to use. But for general play, Ravenous Hydra is probably a little better. Armor penetration, yeah, you want armor penetration. His ultimate, Q, and auto attacks are all damaged, even though his E's not. I explained how in at least Ruins, get the attack damage is more effective, but you still need high armor penetration because your ultimate does a shit ton of damage, and so does your Q. Always want maybe a little magic resist or health. You could also get one defensive item such as Omen if you're going full AD, but full AD is full AD, man. So that's damage. Kind of a troll build, but you can do it. It's an early game, pretty good. Late game falls off. Jungle, obvious start. Easy. Early. Okay, so this is for the armor. Take less damage, do more damage to minions, yes. This is extremely important. It gives you health, fine, a little tankiness, and the ward charges. Lee Sin's all about mobility and utility. Sight, you don't want to get counter ganked. You don't want to get counter jungled. You want to counter jungle if you're any good and do it properly. And this helps just ganking in general. So if you're mid and you need to jump onto the Ari, you can walk up, she starts walking back, but then you can jump to your ward and then start using your E to slow her and Q. So this is extremely good because people are surprised that you have a free flash on you. Free flash right here, real nice. Boots, yes, sustain a little bit. Mid game, you want some magic resist. That's the standard magic resist early item is the locket. Gives a little armor too. I guess it's been nerfed for its magic resist, so it's not that good. This is actually just an all around. It used to be high magic resist, as in bulwark, not the locket. They've combined it. It's kind of weird, but whatever. That's kind of a standard item. Warden's Mail is really good. It's good armor, pretty cheap, and has a nice ability. If you also want to go higher magic resist than the locket, Spectre's Cowl, Spectre's Cowl is extremely good because if it's passive, it's high magic resist and health, and it upgrades into 2 items you can use. Yes, and they are down here. You can get the Tiamat if you want to clear minions faster. You could do a little damage. Usually when you're jungling, you're kind of more utility. You want to help out your lanes and be tanky. So I would say, let's see here. Let me move these around. Let's see. There we go. So you can go the mallet for the utility of the slow. Almost always get Randuin's Omen and one of these magic resist items. Maybe a little armor penetration, attack damage, stuff like that. Pretty good. Oh, and Warmogs. Let's throw that in there. Oh, you could also do Sunfire Cape. So pretty much any tanky thing on him that's not mana is pretty good. Pretty good. So this is a troll build I like to do, and this is usually top lane. It's kind of a pushing thing. So starting standard items, for some attack damage. This is high damage. You always go Ravenous Hydra with this because what you do is you clear waves really fast, and that's what the point of this build is supposed to do. So at mid game you should have these 3 items at first. So you need to be really fast, clear your waves. So your Ravenous Hydra, it's activate and E, and then you need to be able to run around and run away because you're going to be just pushing top. Finished build is high damage items, and I get the Trinity because the activate helps push down tower faster and movement speed. But if you are dying to some high AP burst, or you are getting CC'd a lot. That's why the Mercury Scimitar is there, or the Banshees for the shield. And you could also get, if you want, to Blade of the Ruined King for the activate. It helps speed you up, gives you lifesteal and damage and everything. It's just an all-around good item. And if you really need it, Merc Shreds, of course. But yeah, that's just kind of a fun build to do for jumping around and doing stuff. And then, of course, your tanky build. So, standard. I almost always start Doran Shield when I do tanky. Then you can go into your little sustain, some armor for because you're going to be top usually, some health and utility, and maybe some armor pen. You could also just get a giant spell early on and try to finish off maybe the omen early, but you can also get it later. It just depends on. You always want to build to what the enemy is doing or how their team comp is and whatnot. So, two types of boots, defensive boots, of course, all defensive items, and so your final build should be one armor pen item. So that's either Black Cleaver or you could maybe do the Last Whisper. Probably Frozen Mallet for a little additional attack damage and utility, boots, and then some huge tanky stuff depending on their team comp. If they're, I probably would do that. So these are sometimes Omen over Sunfire, Banshee over Spirit Visage. I'm not actually sure about those. Those are both really good. But if they're going high AP, take more magic resist, high 80, take more armor. Pretty self-explanatory. But that's pretty good tanky build there. So that's if you're top lane. No jungle items really. Those are the Lee Sin item sets. If you have anything, any questions or any comments, some criticism, tell me what you think. Most people would say for damage, Ravenous Hydra over Bloodthirster, but I like the Bloodthirster at 100 extra, 100 attack, because single target damage is what I like to do when I build damage Lee Sin, and I like to just nuke one guy down and run away. It's kind of fun. Bloodthirster is better for that. And yeah, so those are the item sets. Pretty standard. Alright, I'll be playing a game for you guys here. Hold on a sec. Kind of loud. And here's my masteries. I'm taking Summoner's Wrath because I'm going Ignite Exhaust because I want to win lane. But I'm doing a 921 tanky build. And I'll be getting that shield right off the bat. Alright, here's our tanky tree or item set that I built. I don't know, that's what I'm building. It's a little risky because what I'm getting is because Jarvan jungle is kind of potent, pretty strong at the moment, but since I'm Lee Sin and I'm tanky, he shouldn't be able to kill me and I can just safeguard away. So I will be fighting probably a Scion. Because of this, I'm going to max Tempest Cripple because he's an auto attack oriented usually guy top. If he's AP, I might max my sustain ability so I can just stay in lane because AP Scion is pretty gay. But you just want to max abilities depending on how the enemy is oriented and who he is. One thing you want to make sure is that you are aware of timing. So Jarvan's done with Lou right now, so he could come up and gank, so you don't want to play super aggressive right now. If you want to, so Scion is AP, so I'm probably going to go a little more sustain or burst. I'm not sure. I could still max this because I probably beat him in a sustain fight because all he does is ability power damage burstage, but again, just play it out how you think you'll like it. So I'm going at it. I got level 2 first, and I'm gonna kill him like a little bitch. Yep, he's dead. Alright, that was good. So, something that, what happened there is, since I was pushed a little more than he did, I got level 2 first. And I got my abilities to close in and slow him, and I was able to just auto attack his face, and he died. So that was good. Now if Jarvan ganked, I'd be able to 1v1 him easily, so that's pretty good. Since he's AP, I might just start by trying to get my Spectral's cloth thingamabob. But I don't really want to go the Negatron cloak right away because that's super expensive. And he doesn't do super AP right now. He's still semi-audio attack oriented because it's Scion. Okay, climbs. So, got one ward and a huge amount of pots. So that'll be good. So now that we're pushed a little bit, I'm going to come down and ward this bush. This is the most likely route for Jarvan to come. He could gank through lane, but since I'm pushed out, I would see that by now. And he could come from around the back. So that is a danger if you want to be super careful, get 2 wards. But yeah, just keep in mind that he could go through your jungle to kill you. Always indicate if your dude's Maya. When killing towers, spam abilities so you get your 40% increased attack speed while attacking them. There is the cancellation of Q if you just want to kind of troll around with that. Another thing is if you want to harass without having to fully commit, maxing your E, which is your Tempest Cripple, because it's actually a ranged ability, you can just stand behind your minions and harass them with that. And since you're top, they're probably building armor, so the fact that it's magic damage will help increase its damage even more because they're going to be going a little more heavy armor oriented because you're Lee Sin, so maxing your damage ability first wins. So here, see Jarvan, and I'm going to kill him. Oh, maybe I won't. I failed that. Well, I thought I could kill him, and I could, but I messed up. I got stunned as I kicked him away. So, well, I got stunned as he jumped away, so it just screwed up my combo. But it was pretty good. Since I'm tanky Lee Sin, I'm overpowered. Goodbye, goodbye. I wanna be your friend. So Lee Sin doesn't need flash because it's a mouse. Okay, so I got my Spectre's cowl, which will help give me sustain because of its unique passive, gives me health and magic resist. So I'll pretty much just not take damage from AV Scion now. So I like to get 2 points in Safeguard Iron Will early. That's another thing I forgot to mention sometimes while I'm lane. So level 4 I get an extra point in that. That's because it increases the lifesteal from 5% to 10%, which is effectively doubling it. But if you do it again, it'll go from 10 to 15, which doesn't effectively double it. So I like the fact that it doubles at rank 2, which is most effective with sustain, and therefore you leave it at rank 2 from there. So now use your Q when the enemy is slowed by your Tempest / Cripple, so you don't miss it, because it's kind of hard to hit sometimes. So just to make sure you hit it, if you're in auto attacking range, just slow them and then use it. It's the most safe. Oh shit! Bitch, get away! Boy. dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I will not die. The ultimate death. Oh, I will die. Oh, I will not die. Haha.
Enemy. We do what we must.